DC just released a trailer for their new Aquaman movie that's coming out next month, and a lot of people have noted that it seems suspicious that Amber Heard's character is completely removed from any trailer. Now, she was previously seen in the last trailer that they released for the movie about a month or so ago, and in that it was just kind of a blink and you miss it sort of moment, but in this one, she's not in it entirely, and a lot of people are wondering, are they trying to basically downplay her involvement, or did they cut her entirely from the movie? I'm not going to say that they cut her entirely. I still think she's actually in the movie, maybe just a reduced role from the first movie. Now, whether that was reduced as a result of her legal battles with Johnny Depp, I mean, that remains to be unknown, but I do think DC is trying to downplay her involvement with the movie because of how unpopular she is with general movie-going audiences, and this is something that we have seen them do in the past, and I will get more on that in a moment. But in this movie, it seems like the focus is kind of on the family dynamic between Arthur and his son, and Amber Heard's character Mera is also the wife of Arthur and the mother of his son. So you would think if they're trying to have this family dynamic with the movie that they would actually include the mother in the family, but no, she's not in it entirely. This article from Newsweek kind of talks about the trailer and what goes on in it. The new trailer, which dropped on Monday, starts with the father and son shot and Arthur talking about how special his son is and how he'll show him how awesome the world is. This matches the family sentiment that the first trailer showcased. But unlike the first trailer that goes on to show in underwater battles and the split-second shot of Mera seeming to punch out a glass wall or cage, the second trailer gives her no mention or screen time. Obviously, the suggestion here is to try to say like she's not in the movie, or her role in the movie is so minor that you're not even going to notice her in the movie. So yeah, if you don't like Amber Heard, you can still watch the movie. You don't need to boycott the movie or anything like that because she's barely in it, sort of thing. But the issue was we've seen Warner Brothers do this in the recent past too. I mean, just look at the Flash movie when that was coming out last summer. In the promotional aspects leading up to the release of it, Ezra Miller gave no interviews or anything talking about it. And I mean, he was completely hidden. The only thing he actually did was show up to the red carpet premiere, and that was it. But all the other promotional aspects of it were just the co-stars like Michael Keaton's Batman, Supergirl, what was her name, Sasha Calle, even Ben Affleck was talking about it, Gal Gadot. I mean, pretty much everyone was talking about the movie except for Ezra Miller. And they're almost trying to market it as like, this is a Michael Keaton Batman movie featuring the Flash, but that's not what we got. I mean, he was a prominent character ×2 in that movie, and people really just didn't like it. And I think they're kind of doing the same thing with this movie as well, because there were calls to boycott the movie itself after the Johnny Depp trial with Amber Heard. But I can't say whether these boycotts will transpire in any meaningful manner or anything like that. I do know there are people who are out there saying that they won't watch the movie as long as Amber Heard's in it. But then you got the misandrist Amber Heard fans who say they won't watch the movie if her role was diminished in any way, shape, or form. And Amber Heard herself has basically come out and said that her role was cut back because of the things with her and Johnny Depp and things like that. But that excuse really just doesn't hold water. And even James Wan himself came out, the director of Aquaman, and said that her role wasn't necessarily cut back as any retaliation or anything like that, or to try to appease any fandom. Her role was basically cut back for creative differences and how they wanted to actually make the movie. The decision to reduce Amber Heard's role was planned from the start, according to Wan. In the first movie, Aquaman and Mera's relationship is central, while the second movie focuses on a bromance between Aquaman and Orm. And that seems to make sense, at least to me. But even if they're going to argue like, oh, well, they did some reshoots and didn't include Amber Heard in it, but it's like, yeah, but they also included her in other reshoots. So if they're trying to get rid of her entirely, they probably would have recast her and reshot some stuff with someone else, or I don't know, they wouldn't have done any pickup shots with her in it. So, I mean, I don't think it really makes sense that they would try to reduce her as a backlash to this. Now, are they going to try to reduce her involvement in the movie and the marketing leading up to it? Yeah, they're probably doing that because, like I said before, they've done that with Ezra Miller, so it stands to reason that they would do that with a secondary character. But I think she was always going to have a reduced role. But either way, I mean, if they really wanted to appease one section of the fan base, they would have removed her entirely, and they didn't do that. So it's just kind of upsetting both sides of the matter on this one. But I mean, either way, I don't think this really matters because we all know that James Gunn is going to basically reboot the whole DCEU after that. I mean, Jason Momoa was going on to have a different role in this. So there's really not people to watch this movie unless they're just real big fans of Jason Momoa's Aquaman movie and just want to see the final movie with him. And if that's what you want to do, yeah, by all means do that. But either way, this movie was going to flop, but I really doubt that this movie is going to flop as hard as what we saw with the Marvels.